and I'm a dietitian, and here one of the co-founders of Opal. And Opal is an eating disorder treatment program, mostly serving adult women, but also serving the wider community in outpatient services. My path to being here as a dietitian, I began having this passion to work with those that struggle with eating disorders, and then also kind of found myself working some with families in the public health sector with the WIC and maternity support services program. So that was kind of my most prominent place when I was using my nutrition services with that population. But as you'll see, it's very applicable to this. Oh yes, I'm a parent. Woo! Okay. And the other piece to me is, yes, I'm a mom. I have 3 kiddos, a 7-year-old, 4-year-old, and 11-month-old, all boys. So.
And I'm Kari Bazzi. Welcome. It's good to see familiar faces and new faces. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I've been in practice since 2002. And Julie and I have shared a career path together. We've shared office space since the beginning. And we mainly did outpatient work until we opened Opal. Now, of course, this is a higher level of care facility. And working with young women that have struggled with food and body issues. I've also had a specialty in working with athletes that struggle with food and body issues. So I bring that experience. I also battled with an eating disorder myself in college. So I've had the personal experience of going through the journey of recovery. And then I'm also a mom to 2 girls, Sophia and Hannah, 1st and 3rd grade. So I've gotten a lot of practice so far with just raising girls, and I'm bringing that today too. So I just wanted to highlight what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to talk about why this matters to you, and then we are going to get to some of the philosophical assumptions that we practice from. We're going to talk a bit about why the current cultural responses aren't working. And then the bulk of the time is we're going to get into some practical approaches around both eating and body image, and how do we talk to our kids about these things.
We have 3 boys in the bath there, and our interest in doing this and our kind of the overflow that you'll see kind of come out in our time together is just that we desire for our homes to be a place that does cultivate healthy relationships with food and body for our kids, but we have spent a lot of time in our careers and in our personal lives and our own journeys and our own selves too to think about these matters. And so I think our hope is, yes, that this can not just be in our homes, but that it could spill over and go to benefit you all the time, all the attention, all the kind of thought that we put into this, that it can benefit you and your families and our community at large.
So this, in some ways, this is a spreading the word, right? Because most people can't think this much about these topics, but since this is our career, there is so much that we've learned that we're wanting to pass on. And I also think of my girls as my teachers, and they've taught me a lot about how to engage with them around these topics, and I'll bring some of those stories in. And then also I think about the clients that have taught me. I've co-facilitated a body image group here since we've opened, and I feel like I'm bringing them into this talk too, of just all that I've learned as we've talked a lot about their childhood experiences, both in their families, at school, with peers. A lot of what you're going to hear from me and Julie tonight is based in some of these, just all the learning we've done with these clients and the stories they've shared and the vulnerability they've brought about their experiences. So that's meaningful too. So why does this matter to you? I think kind of the main point here is that our hope for our children, your children, would be that our children would not link their self-worth and their value to their food choices, their eating behaviors, and their body size. And I think what this kind of boils down to is a really deep question of self-worth, like how am I okay? Am I okay as a being in this world? And that's the work that we're doing day in and day out with all these clients, is they've come to a place where they've found their worth in a lot of external ways, whether that's in the way that their body looks and appears, whether that's in their eating behaviors, whether that's in their sports or their academics. And certainly what kids do and how they perform is important, but how are we cultivating a self-worth that goes beyond those external performances and really helps people feel like who they are as essential human beings are okay. And so that's why I think this topic is so important, because often kids then develop into adults that come to the belief that they're okay because they're thin or that they're beautiful, and that's a really painful path. So that's kind of the ultimate foundation.
I think the recognition is that how do we as parents contribute to this connection, intentionally or unintentionally? The reality is that we do. I think we are powerful instruments in our kids' lives, and we have influence over them, right? And so I think of even tomorrow is picture day at Laurelhurst Elementary, and I've put some energy, and my kids feel some of the energy around the fact that I want a certain shirt to be worn, right? So it's kind of a silly thing about appearance, but I think in that, how much energy or how much focus am I going to put on that? And I know that I could be unintentionally connecting some of his value, his worth, his acceptability tomorrow based on if he picks the right shirt, right? So I think it's recognizing that we, even with all of, you'll hear, I think with all this, we value this, we care so much about this, and I know that there are ways that I still unintentionally do this. And we know that we as parents, we desire so much to do the right thing for our kids, right? And so just know that even in what we're gonna share about what we recommend and what we encourage as parents, like we just know that you've come in here and that you are doing your best and you are desiring the best as a parent and for your kids. And so please hear that in what we might share.
Yeah, we're not looking for perfection, but more of, good enough. I wanted to give an example of where I unintentionally screwed up with my daughter Sophia when Barbies kind of came into the scene. And her peers were playing with Barbies. It's my now 8-year-old. But I was hell-bent on not having Barbies in our house. And I didn't want that to be the model of, because as we know, Barbies don't have a real body shape that anyone could actually have. And so, but I was pretty verbal about it, and the kids picked up on it, and it turned into a lot of embarrassing moments, particularly at birthday parties when my daughters received Barbies, and they would announce, "My mom hates Barbies!" So embarrassing. That happened, I think, at least 3 times. And then eventually, it wasn't that long ago that Sophia sat me down and she said, "Mom, why do you hate her so much? I mean, she's kind, she's like she does nice things. Why do you hate her?" I'm thinking, oh my God, that's what she took away from me being so verbal about not having Barbies in our household, right? Like I wasn't intending to do that, and I was thankful for Sophia for teaching me that that's what she took away, and I could then come back and say, "I'm sorry, Barbie I think is a good person." I don't know much about Barbie's personality, but whatever. I was intending to try to get that out of our house and have more diversity in toys. So it was an unintentional thing. So here we are. We're all doing our best and we're trying.